I mean, this won't be this calendar year.
Well, we're not going up on available funds. If anything, we're still, right now, we're going down pretty quick. And next year, by moving the one employee over, that's gonna slow that down, the drop in the funds. But a couple of years ago, 300 and some thousand. Today, we sit at 120. So
So,
130,000.
in other words, it's pretty minimal.
Keep going, so. Because we still have the voice recorder that has to be paid for, so.
You have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll throw this out too, there's an option you can lease it if you want. No money down, first payment a year from now. It's about a 3% interest, really what it is. But that entails all the service and stuff put into it.
Is
That's
that
an
a
option.
replacement option at all?
Yeah,
Like
at the end you just replace it again and starts the lease all over again.
So you could continue to lease one forever.
Forever, yeah. Pros and cons. But
Yeah.
if I leased, I'd probably do a 8 or 10-year lease.
It won't last that long.
Yeah.
Well,
The sheriff will be back in here and fighting one another. Some sheriff will.
Yeah.
We never had any figures on that, did we, Ted, for lease?
No, I can get it if you need it. And it'll be vegetarian, it'll be cheaper because you offer bids, it'd be cheaper. Because I did list price. Okay.
This isn't firm bids.
No.
That's the-
No, absolutely not. And I want to say thank you. J&K has grown a lot in Wilton County. When I started, there was 5 of us, now there's over 30 people, and a lot of it's because you guys. We do 911 systems. And this county's treated us well, so we
I'd be
appreciate that.
interested in seeing what the lease figures are.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay. I'll get something and get it to you guys. I'll get it
But you
to-
gotta have a final bid to do it.
Yeah, but I can do, I'll do it with my figures. The 260,
Yeah.
whatever it is, just so you know.
Those figures you throw out, are they 20% too high or
I'm not gonna
50
tell you.
or
2.
50% too high?
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Okay, Mark. What do you wanna talk about the jail inspector, what you wanna do first now?
I guess it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, get the jail
Jail
inspection.
inspection? Okay. I didn't bring a copy with me, so I don't know. It went as well as it typically does, year in and year out. The only thing that, of major issue was the understaffing. I think we're working on that. So that was really the biggest issue on everything was
How much understaffed do they think we are?
based on wherever my chief deputy went. He did a study a couple of years ago, and I think we were like 1.3, so essentially two people down.
Somewhere I read it within this jail report, it was 2.2 at this point. Does that sound right?
It's on page,
Yeah, I thought when he comes back in, well, maybe it was. I thought it was 1 point something, but essentially two people.
it's on page 14 of the report.
We gotta, we alleviated that some of the current budget, or next year's budget, but there was some discussion about changing that from what we did to what.
Yeah, are you
Mike.
gonna bring that up, or Sean, or who's gonna,
I think
or
George
George?
mentioned it
Okay,
earlier.
Yeah, I got some figures on that,
Okay.
whenever you're ready on that.
all right, we'll wait till Mark gets good. Is that all? Any
Yeah,
other
that's all I
questions
have
on
on
the jail
the
report?
jail inspection.
Couple questions down through. And the difference between a full-time officer and a part-time officer, it goes down through training and staff development on there. It shows that a new jail officer is to receive 80 hours of training within the first year. Is that for both full-time and part-time?
Yes.
And then he has to do a continuing education, 16 hours per year
Full part-time, both, yes,
for both
Yes.
full-time and part-time.
correct.
So, question is, if we have a part-time officer and we train him, and he has an opportunity to go to an adjoining county on a full-time basis, we basically trained their officer for him.
Exactly.
Which is what we used to do for, at least dispatch a lot.
What's the purpose of longevity? Any other questions? Okay,
Okay, the next thing that I'm going to bring before you is to ask for your support to amend the merit pension to vest at 8 years rather than the current 10 years. I've either sent or hand-delivered some supporting documents. One that you should have in front of you is the form that shows that was done by McCready and Keene. It shows the difference of contributions between myself and a 20-year deputy. It comes up to, again, these are approximations based on the numbers that they had to work with as far as salaries go. And my contributions is only about $1,400 less than a 20-year deputy. However, I would, at 8 years, an 8-year person would not receive the same percentage as a 20-year deputy. Stan Brown is here from McCready and Keene, and he'll be able to elaborate more on that form. I also provided to you kind of an information sheet that verifies that an elected official that's under PERF is vested after 8 years. A question was brought up too about how many counties are under the 8 years as opposed to the 10, and there's about, according to McCready and Keene, the ones that they manage, there's about 55, a little over half the counties are under the 8-year plan. You should also have a copy of the actuarial valuation that I provided to you. That again was put together by McCready and Keene, prepared by them, and Stan Brown will have to answer any questions on that because that's way out of my league to answer the questions on that. So I also have merit board members. I got the president of the merit board, Scott Metzger, is here, and the secretary, Greg Hockemeyer, here for support and to answer any questions. And I think Scott has some few words to say at some point here. So, questions, comments, anything we need to direct to Stan?
Does the merit board have any input into this,
Into
what you're requesting?
Yes, the process on this is I had to go to the merit board first and request that they approve it, and then the second step was bringing it to the county council,
If they did.
and they did, yes.
Well, there are 5 county offices that are term limited. We're up on an 8-year plan. I don't know historically how this ever happened, whether who changed from 10 to 8 for those other offices. Why didn't they, the sheriff's department?
Because the sheriff's pension, correct me if I'm wrong here, is essentially a standalone pension plan as opposed to PERF. So the PERF rules and regulations wouldn't slide over into that. Is that?
That's right. The ability for the sheriff to have a plan for the merit officers is a separate statute, and the merit board and the county council and the sheriff, since 1989, have had to approve any changes to the provisions of this plan. So, as the sheriff mentioned, the constitutionally term limited county officials in PERF vest after 8. 91 of the 92 counties in this state have a separate sheriff plan. And And so their provisions are governed by, you know, whatever, however they set their plan up. They don't have to follow what PERF does on the vesting. The one county that doesn't have their own plan, they are in PERF, and that sheriff in that county is vested after 8 years.
Yes, I think if, so like, let's just say Jenny had not worked for the county before and she served 2 terms as auditor and then she's gonna move to Florida. So you're vested after 8 years, that's correct? Okay, then I can remember back when the sheriff's department had longevity, the rest of the county didn't, then we put it in and we put a limit on ours. Yours was uncapped forever, at so much per year, you know, forever. There was no limit to what, you know, like after 20 years or something. Bill, maybe you can remember wasn't ours at 10 to start with, and then we raised it a couple different times, and finally, we made it consistent with the sheriff's department and everybody else. There's no cap on longevity. So I guess my feeling is, you know, without hearing something different, I think we ought to be uniform in what we do with the retirement plan. I mean, I think if other people are vested at 8, I think the deputies and the sheriff and everybody over there ought to be the same as the rest of the county.
I agree, I don't know, but see why we would treat that any differently.
Well, I mean, I felt that way when they didn't have a cap on perf and the other people did. I didn't think that was fair to them, and I guess so likewise, in the same light, that we should probably all be uniform on our retirement packages, I think.
What's the years on the deputies?
It's 20 years.
Well, the vesting is 10.
10.
The vesting is 10.
But some of us older ones, I know you guys don't think that, but I am now one of the older ones.
Yeah.
I was 8. There's quite a few of us that were 8, and then we had some that are 8 years.
So you're saying
one
you
month.
got inconsistency among your departments?
Yeah.
That is
And
correct.
see, that's what I don't think is right. I think it should be uniform, not just for the sheriff's department, but I think it should be uniform throughout the county. I think it's the fair way to do it.
That's-
And it's particularly, it's unfair in your department to have some at 8 and some at 10.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, there's been a couple different changes on the vesting schedule in this plan based on when you were hired. And so if you've been in the department a while, you were under the 8-year vesting. So you're obviously, you know, he's been here long enough that he's 100% vested, but between January 1 of 2001 and May 1st of 2006, instead of it being 8 years, it was 8 years and 1 month. And then after May of 2006, if you were hired after that date, it went to 10 years vesting.
Was that something we did? I don't recall that, I don't recall doing that.
So when it changed for the whole department when it went from 8 to 10.
Based on your hire date.
I know.
So if you,
But anybody knew
it's
after
in
that
a
date
different-
you just gave us.
That's right.
Have they got options like they do with perf, like you could take a lump sum or you can have it in an annuity or whatever it is?
Yeah, the monthly benefit is available as a life annuity, or if you're married, you can take a joint 100% survivor, joint 50% survivor. There's also a life annuity with 10 years guaranteed and 20 years guaranteed. So there's different options.
But it's pretty similar to what perf's
Yes,
was?
yes,
So if you're at a spouse, they would take a lesser amount?
that's right.
Scott or Greg with the Merit Board, do you have any additional comments or anything?
Yeah, Scott Metzger. We did pass this, and I think it's based largely on some of the points that you made here, mostly the need for consistency with a term limited position. I think that essentially that's what carries the day for the majority of the sheriff's board, is the fact that you have a position that cannot serve for more than 8 years. So unless he was previously a deputy or was put in the sort of, I think it would be fair to say, uncomfortable position of then reverting to be a deputy and working for his successor, assuming there was a job available, the sheriff, as it's currently structured, can very likely be in a position where they earn no pension credit, given the tenure structure that we're at right now. So I think it's essentially it's predicated off of the consistency logic that is used in other positions as to why the Sheriff's Merit Board voted in favor of moving it back to 8.
Go ahead. That statement you made a little bit ago about originally it was 8 years and 1 month. It might as well be 10, it's 8 years and 1 month.
Yeah.
Yes,
Am I understanding that correctly?
yeah.
No,
For
we have
the
authority to-
well, for the sheriff's
For the-
position, that is correct. For the
Yeah.
deputies, certainly, anything between 8 years and 10 years might have impact for them because they effectively have the ability to serve for odd periods of time between 8 years and 10 years.
Well, do we have the legal authority to change this, or do we have to consider that?
Do they have a copy of
Your
this?
board?
And, no, this is it. I don't think that I didn't give you a copy of the,
We got it, it's our call, right?
What the process is,
of the amendment.
there's as the actuaries, we drafted a plan amendment that addresses the change. The merit board has approved it, you have to approve it, and then the sheriff signs it, and it becomes effective then.
Bill, it's in front of me.
Bill's that big.
Right
Yeah.
there. It's down at the bottom, don't it give the 3 steps?
So if we approve 8 years, then that 8 years and 1 month goes away, and it's 8 years for everybody. Is that gonna be the way it is?
That's right.
For
I mean,
deputy.
the 8 years and 1 month was for, if you were hired between, I think it's May, it's on the second or third page of that amendment. I think it's between January 1, 2001 and May of 2006. So, you know, you may have somebody who was hired just under that deadline that would be that's under the 8 years and 1 month. They go to 8 years. If you approve this, everybody goes to 8 years.
Deputy.
Yeah, we can't do it just for one,
Right.
it's gotta be everybody.
And that's what, and the amendment is written that way to take care of the, you know, the 3 different vesting schedules that have been in play depending on your hire date in the last 12 years.
So if we pass it, it takes effect immediately. There's no waiting period, or?
I think the amendment's written where, the merit board's already approved it. If you pass it this month, it becomes effective the first day of the next month. Yeah, that's on the first page in the 4th paragraph. Plan's amended, it's effective as of the first day of the month coincident with or next following the execution of this 3rd amendment by the Sheriff's Department, the Merit Board, and the County Council.
This would cure the inconsistency in the deputies, and I don't understand that. I don't remember doing that, yep, Clint kinda does, but I can't figure out why we did that.
After a motion.
Process. Process now would be the motion.
I presume.
Do you guys have a date, when was that changed from 8 years and 1 month to 10 years? Well, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
2006, I do.
Did
2006.
the council do it?
Yep, we did.
Well, I must have been sleeping that day.
Yeah, all of these vesting schedules, all of the changes that have happened in 2001, 2006 had, you know, there was a plan amendment just like this that the council adopted along with the merit board.
Is there any other questions of these gentlemen?
Did you discuss it at all in your meeting?
Well, Dan brought it up, and our county attorney, and what his thoughts were on that, he read real quick the retirement plan that we have now, and his suggestion was that the commissioners also have to approve. It's 3 different steps to that. It would be the commissioners as the county, then the fiscal authority, and the merit board.
You know, if you look at the plan document, it just addresses the county council and the merit board.
Okay, he quoted Article 1. It says, Article 1 of the County Police Force Retirement Plan, Section 11.01 requires approval of an amendment to the plan by the employer. In his view was the commissioners at that point, and then the merit board and the county fiscal body.
Would it be prudent to maybe we vote at our October meeting and let the commissioners have a chance to approve it prior to us?
That's what I would
I think
suggest.
we should, because I think
That's
the
exactly-
commissioner need to be on board with what we do as well as the council.
Yes.
I'm in favor of that myself.
I mean, that comes.
Excuse me, I guess I am curious, did the commissioners approve the last amendment?